Alright, so the movie Hocus Pocus 2 came out this year, and it was a decent movie. I mean, if you think about it, it's just a repeat. It takes place in the same universe and everything. I thought it was enjoyable. It had the same actors and everything, so... But in it, there's this one scene, okay? That I'll just play for you real quick.
Get out of my house!
Down, wooden face.
Shove it, Satan!
Did you see that? They were watching the original movie in the Hocus Pocus 2 universe. Now, this bothered me. It's kind of the joke that Hocus Pocus isn't really known for. There aren't really any fourth wall breaks. So if there's no fourth wall break going on, this means that in the Hocus Pocus universe, the movie Hocus Pocus exists. There's this one scene where the witches are recognized, and they say, "Oh my god, are you the Sanderson sisters?" Like, dressed as the Sanderson sisters? And when in the context of the Sanderson sisters being a story told within the universe, makes sense, right? But if the movie exists, that means that the witches look exactly like the actors. So the actors must exist within this universe as well. So the actors are the same in appearance as the witches, but that asks another question. Who came first, the actors or the witches? Which one came first? Because realistically, the movie came afterwards. But in this universe, the story that the movie is based off of is real and actually happened. And the witches are hundreds of years old, so did the actors just look like the witches? If all of the events of the first Hocus Pocus movie happened, why is there a movie about them? Because no one else knows about it except for the kids who happened to be there on Halloween night. If the movie exists, then that means that the movie came out in 1993. But the events of the story also took place in 1993, so how did the movie get made so fast? Does that mean that the actors who played the kids also look exactly like the actual kids in the story, or did none of that happen? What happened in the movie that didn't happen in real life, or was it all what happened in real life? And so that raises another question. If the story of the Sanderson sisters is a real thing within the context of this universe, and it's a story that's often told, then was it turned into a movie based off of it? And if that's so, then did the events of the original Hocus Pocus movie happen because of the movie? And then there's the end credits scene, which shows all the sisters in a booth together recording the song that they sung for this movie. Now, I ruled that out as not canon when I first saw it, but now that I think about it, it makes sense. If the end credits scene is canon, then that means that the actors who play the witches are actually the witches themselves. Is this movie being filmed as we're watching it? Are we just watching the movie being filmed in the context of the universe? And if that's the case, then why is the movie in the movie? Is it just a clerical error? And if the guy who originally exists owns the house, then if the movie exists, then how come he isn't being sued for copyright infringement? Is he just, you know, working within public domain works and that's why? Because he is selling merchandise that looks exactly like the prop of the book that they used in the movie. I think I'm starting to lose it. What does this all mean for the multiverse? Is this a multiverse theory type situation? Maybe the inclusion of the movie in the sequel is hinting at there being a multiverse of Hocus Pocus universes. And so the first movie takes place in a slightly different timeline than the second movie. So there's two timelines. So then what is the watershed moment that splits them? Is the watershed moment the movie itself, or is it the event that took place in 1993? And if this is a different timeline, then maybe the reason that the witches showed up here is because they didn't show up in the first place in the original story. What if these two timelines merged together for this movie? For the most part, we're viewing the original timeline of the first movie, but then in this split-second cameo, we see the timelines merge, and we see our timeline didn't do it. Does that mean that our timeline is canon to the Hocus Pocus multiverse? And if our timeline is canon, then does that mean that this whole rant is canon into the Hocus Pocus universe? Is this whole video taking place as the Sanderson sisters wreak havoc on our world? Somewhere in our world, are there 3 kids who are fighting against 3 evil witches? What does it all mean? What does it all mean? What does it all mean?